Hello again, this is Suna Senman with a reading of A Course in Love, number 37. And we are going to begin with the last paragraph of reading number 36. What you do not realize is that every situation is a relationship, even those as simple as unreturned phone calls and snarled traffic. You relate to someone or something in every situation you encounter, and what you hold against them, you withhold from them. You have taken a piece of them and hold it unkindly to yourself, not in joining, but in separation, totally unaware that you too are subject to these whims of your brothers and sisters, and find at times pieces of yourself scattered hither and yon, knowing they are lost to you, but not knowing how the loss came about, or where to retrieve these missing pieces, not knowing that you can prevent the loss entirely by being one. What is joined cannot be parceled out and scattered, but must remain in wholeness. What is joined resides in peace, and knows no grief, no grievance. What is joined resides in love, inviolate. There is another way in which you withhold pieces of relationships for yourself. This withholding is not of the form of grievances, but of the form of specialness. You withhold in order to make yourself special, always at another's expense. All your efforts to best your brother and sister are thus all competition, all envy, all greed. These all relate to These all relate to your image of yourself and your efforts to reinforce it. This is your desire not to be intelligent, but to be more intelligent than your colleagues. This is your desire not to be generous, but to be more generous than your relative. This is your desire for wealth that is greater than your neighbor's, attractiveness greater than that of your friends, success greater than that of the average man or woman. You pit yourself not only against individuals, but groups and nations, teams and organizations, religions and neighbors, and family members. This is the desire to be right or in control, or to have more or be more. This is life based on comparison of illusion to illusion. You do not see this as withholding, but you claim for yourself at another's expense is indeed withholding, and in your world you know not how to claim anything for yourself without withholding it for someone else. You have not set yourself up in a position to withhold your intelligence from others, lest they profit from it. You have now set yourself up in a position to withhold your intelligence from others, lest they profit from it. You want your intelligence known and recognized, but you want it known and recognized as yours. If someone wants the intelligence you have to offer, something must be given in return. What you demand can range from admiration to money, but it is all the same, and the demand is always there. It is the ransom that you insist be paid, the homage you claim is due, that without which you will withhold what you have. And you are thankful for these things with which you can demand ransom of the world, for without them you would be the one called upon to pay. These are examples of what you withhold from the world for yourself, but what of that which you withhold from the world of yourself? Both these things are much the same in truth. For what you hold away from all the rest, what you hold for ransom, and do not freely give, you do not have the use of for yourself. Those ideas that you saved up, that creativity that only you would benefit from, the wealth you would amass, these things are as useless to you when saved for yourself alone as they would be if they did not exist. They bring you not to the truth or happiness, nor can they buy you love or the success you seek. What you withhold from the world, you withhold from yourself, for you are not separate from the world. In every situation, what you would keep is what you would not have, because you keep it only from yourself. You must return now to relationship and correct as quickly as possible any erroneous ideas you have, especially those that might make of this a trivial point or one that is specific and not generalizable. All relationships exist in wholeness. The small examples used earlier were meant to help you recognize relationship itself. Relationship is something different from the objects, persons, or situations related to. Now we must expand on this idea. Broadening your view from the specific to the general is one of the most difficult tasks of this curriculum. It is easy to see why this is so when you recognize how bound your thinking is to specifics. Again, this is why we call on love and the hidden knowledge of your heart. Your heart already sees in a manner much more whole than the perception of your split mind. Even your language and images reflect this truth, this difference between the wisdom of your heart and that of your mind. Your heart may be said to break, but the image that these words can call forth is of a heart cracked open, not of a heart in separate pieces. Your brain, on the other hand, is separated into right and left hemispheres. On one side has one function, one side another. While your brain and your mind are not the same, your image of your mind and what it does and does not do is linked with your image of your brain. Let this image go and concentrate on the wholeness of your heart, no matter how you view its current condition, be it wounded, bleeding, broken, or full. It rests in wholeness within you at the center of who you are. It is from this center that truth will light your way. It is from this center that you will come to understand that relationship exists in wholeness. We've begun to dislodge your idea that you stand separate and alone, a being broken off from all the rest. Your forgiveness of all that has led to this misperception is not yet complete, nor will it be until your understanding is greater than it is now. For you cannot give up the only reality you know without believing in and having at least some elementary understanding of what the truth of your reality actually is. If you cannot be alone, you must be continuously in relationship. Thus, relationship must not depend on interaction as you understand it. It is easy to see the relationship between a pencil and your hand, your body and another, the actions that you do and the effects that you seem to cause. All of these relationships are based on what your senses tell you, the evidence you have relied upon to make sense of your world. Those who have developed reliance on ways of knowing not governed by the acceptable senses are seen as suspect. And yet you accept many causes for your feelings, from variations in the weather to unseen and unverifiable diseases. You have given others whom you see as having more authority than you license to provide you with their version of the truth. And for consistency's sake, you choose to believe in the version of truth most predominant in your society. Thus, the truth is different in one place than it is in another, and it even appears to be in conflict. You cling to no truths even though you are aware of their instability in time as well as place. And so you live with constant denial that even what is known to you is not known at all. You thus cling to the one sure thing that permeates your existence, the knowledge that death will claim you and all of those you love. Realize that when you are asked to give this up, you're asked to give up an existence so morbid that anyone with any sanity would gladly toss it to the wind and ask for an alternative. An alternative exists, not in dreams or fantasies, but in truth. Not in changing form and circumstances, but in eternal consistency. Accept a new authority, even if only for the little while that it will take you to read these words. Start with this idea. You will allow for the possibility of new truth to be revealed to your waiting heart. Hold in your heart the idea that as you read these words, and when you finish reading these words, their truth will be revealed to you. Let your heart be open to a new kind of evidence of what constitutes the truth. Think of no other outcome than your happiness, and when happiness comes, deny it not. nor its source. Remind yourself that when love comes to fill your heart, you will deny it not its source. You do not need to believe that this will happen, but only to allow for the possibility of it happening. Do not turn your back on the hope offered here, and when new life flows in to release the old, forget not from where it came. So that was reading number 37 of A Course in Love. And that was also the end of chapter 7, I believe. So now we go into chapter 8, which is going to be the separation from the body. Thank you for joining me. Take your deep breaths and release and enjoy today with love and blessings.